It has been too long. I'm really glad to be back talking with you. We'll be talking about where have I been, what I've been up to, and kind of the world in level design. Hey everyone, I hope you're well, playing on making games that you all love. You're joining me, your host, Level Designer Max Purs. It's an absolute pleasure to be able to be talking with you, and thank you very much for taking the time to listen to this whenever and wherever you are. I do appreciate it very much. So it's been a while. I do apologize. If you've been following me on Twitter, you will notice that I have been working on a God of War level, as well as teaching the CGMA course. And that's really been taking up a lot of my time, as well as with GDC. I didn't go, but one of the projects I'm working on, we had a deadline to hit for the GDC as a presentable, so that was also a mad rush as well. So I definitely ran out of time, as much as I would have loved to be talking to you, as I felt we had a great start with you and consistency, but hey, month 3, we already dropped that real quick. So we'll keep trying to get better with that one. So yeah, let's get back to it. So I want to talk about on the first topic.
But first, let's have a quick word from today's sponsor. Today's sponsor is none other than me. What I've done, everyone, and I hope you're excited for this, is I've actually created a level design kind of store. What I've done in this store is put up different kinds of tips and tricks that you can find there, whether that be my actual ebook itself, to that of level design pamphlets focused on different things such as traversal, stealth, breaking into the industry, as well as different talks that I have done which you cannot find anywhere else other than on this store. So if you are looking to improve on your level design skills and processes, then check out the Level Design store, which will be down in the description below, where there'll be a link to find this. All you need to do is head over to gumroad.com/level design lobby. I hope you like what you see, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts. Thank you, and now back to the show.
Is that, well, off personal levels, as I've stated already, I've really been working on, and if you haven't seen, please do go check out my Twitter, which is @MaxPairs, as we can keep up with all the updates, in case you want to or wonder where I am or what I'm up to. You'll be able to find me up on there. And the big kind of update for this really has been that of working on the God of War level. So I decided to, well, for a while back, I think near the end of last year, is when I first started to recreate the home area for a God of War level that I wanted to make, but due to moving countries and contracts, I didn't really get much chance to progress other than really recreating that area. And it was really fascinating, again, just my mind, because I'm such a huge fan of the God of War series. Creating it, I was just so nervous. I was like, man, I'm not going to do a good job. Why am I doing this? This is just going to be embarrassing. I'm not going to be able to show this, and ugh. And it really was put on pause, again, with other life issues, but I just was not necessarily feeling it and just doubting my own abilities. And a few people have asked, how do you get over that? And I think for me, what it came back to was a few things. Was that of playing God of War Ragnarok, and if anything, that should have made it more intimidating, because again, the levels only got better for the most part, I believe. And yeah, it was just seeing that passion again for it, and also the, hey, I need to learn more about Unreal. It was something that I noticed while working on multiple different gigs, that there's a lot of studios using Unreal, and I found myself, just because of the fact that I didn't use it while I was at CD Projekt Red. Obviously, we used their own in-house Red engine. I think it was Red Engine 3 we were using. That I was out of the loop. I used to use Unreal before 4 a lot, and I used to be able to do so much with it. And when I joined Ninja, I was very fortunate where they allowed me to learn more of it, as they were working on the trailer that dropped back at, I can't remember when it was now, but the big trailer with the giant kind of chasing Senua. That was what they were working on, and I would have really just slowed down the process, and they had a lot of people on it, so they allowed me to work on Unreal. And I was just like, man, I'm just not as good as I want to be with it. And thankfully, I had great teammates from it, with that of Hugh and Aaron, which were great LDs that just came out of university. It's their first job, and they were masters of Unreal. And it was great to just learn from them, as they were just such a great resource for me. And I thought, man, I need to improve on this. Now I did. Once Hellblade 2 is released, I'll be able to share what actually I worked on there. But it also made me realize that, there's still so much to learn. There's still so much that I've just got to improve upon. And it was funny because then the announcement came that CD Projekt Red is switching over to Unreal. So I was like, oh god. And again, I'd left CD, but it was just another eye-opener of, well, you've just got to get better at it, and in my own time. So that's when the two kind of merged. And I think when you're working on a personal project, there needs to be that thought process behind it, right? Thinking about, okay, well, what is this for? You don't need to show every personal project. I think even if you're able to just show a couple gifts from it, I think it's great, whether that's just putting on a social media site or that of your portfolio. Because I genuinely do believe that if you are creating personal work, that puts you in a better standstead than others, because it shows your passion, it shows that you're wanting to learn, and that you're always curious about different things. Yeah, which I think, to me, is great. So think about, what is the purpose of it? Is it just to make something for yourself? Is it to work on certain techniques or certain areas that you're not as good at and push further? It was really important for me to make sure with this God of War level that I make it playable, right? That you're able to actually run through this level and interact with it. Due to the previous blockouts that I'd done on my personal, I think the art gallery I had, that had some working logic with certain doors and simple AI, but it was not fully playable for the most part, right? There were still some bits missing, just due to time. I think I was doing that in between crunching it on Cyberpunk, so eventually I was just running out of steam on that, and I got it to a presentable phase, and I was happy with that. The Spider-Man level, that was just a block out. Again, I had some elements, but most of the controller was done by, I can't remember his name, but I've got a link to it in the video of the Spider-Man level if you want to go look at that. He'd done the controller for it, and I'd used that, but I still think the Spider-Man level wasn't as good as it should have been for the most part. And again, it wasn't playable, it was just the block out. And that was just due to, again, time. I only wanted to work on blocking things out. I didn't necessarily want to actually make things necessarily work. It was just building on my block out skills, as I felt that I could just be a little bit faster on the block out, and that's what it was really about, and making sure my own process was better. So again, take the time, think about, well, what is it that you want to learn? What is it you want to gain from this? And I think working in, and that was the big thing for the Spider-Man one. One of the big issues in my level, looking back on it, is it was too small. The amount of movement and space and distance that Spider-Man can cover in that game is so vast and so huge that the metrics I was using, I think, were a bit too small overall, even just the height between floors. I think I have it about 4 meters. I would push that even above 6 because of one of the camera, and 2, making sure that the movement is so acrobatic. Even when he stood still, you see him flipping in doing all of this, right? And that was a big thing that I think I would, again, change and improve upon. So in this one, I was like, okay, well, scripting in Unreal with Blueprint is not my strongest suit. Scripting overall, I'm relatively happy with. I think I'm able to do quite a fair amount. But Blueprint, I just didn't feel I grasped that much. But again, was able to do this, and you can see.
At Level Design Lobby, we believe everybody has a story to tell. Hobbyist or student, freelancer or veteran, we made it our mission to unite those who share our passion for creating and developing great games. Thanks to our generous Patreon backers, we've been able to do just that. So if you've already pledged your support, thank you. If not, you too can ensure the future of Level Design Lobby, helping us to create even more exciting content, collaborations, interviews, and much more. With awesome perks and rewards, whether you're a seasoned professional or just getting started, you're sure to find something for you. Want to share tips, tricks, and advice with passionate, like-minded developers? Our awesome community Discord has you covered. Fancy practicing your level design, creating strong portfolio content, and having fun? Then try our level design weekends. Or perhaps you want to individually discuss your work, hone your skills, or level up your career? Then consider our one-on-one mentorships. If you share our vision, then go to patreon.com/Level Design Lobby for more information and to pledge your support. Thank you.
And the other thing I really wanted to show and demonstrate, and I'm happy it got a lot of a love from the community, was showing that prototyping in how you deliver things doesn't need to be beautiful. It doesn't need to have all the aspects of animations, particles, sounds in there. Just because we don't necessarily have the skills or the time, right? Like I do not have the skills to animate a character, then import it into Unreal, and then attach it to the character and play it while we go down, right? There's a lot that goes into that, and the people that do that's amazing, envious. And again, it's another thing of time where doing all this is a lot of time as it is. I still have a lot to address and move forward with. Like, this area that I'm working on is only one section of the overall level. I've got another 2 sections that I need to block out and script as well moving forward. And that was a big thing for me. So I've almost finished section 1 now overall. The last few things are kind of make sure the totems with the bear totems really feel right, and just getting in the final Zeus's lines, which we hear as he goes through. These sort of things are the final touches, but it's on its way now, and overall just really happy with how it's going. And I do recommend it to people. I get asked all the time, well, how do I make my portfolio stand out? I do think having a personal section, some people that ask are students who don't have published work, others who do ask do have published work out there. But regardless of your situation, having that personal work is great, especially even when you are a student, because there's a lot of group projects, not always, but there is a lot of group projects. So being able to showcase what you are capable of by yourself, man, that's great. That is a good thing to be able to show. And so as I said, I've really taken the time to make sure that this feels good. It has the elements in there. I have the axe now solving different puzzles in different ways. We have that of Odin's ravens going across on little sequences that the player can take out if they want, as well as loot that they can find, and even the Chaos Blades, even though you can't use them in combat just because of the controller. I can't offer both the Leviathan Axe and that, but the puzzles that can be solved by the Chaos Blades are still there, so you still see part of it in action for it. And now just figuring out how to deliver the narrative, I think, is one of the big steps as well moving forward, which is great to see for that. So I think honestly doing them is great, and just my plan is I'm currently doing storyboards and like I said, the totems and the gameplay, and then the next final steps after that, we're doing a script. I'm just having a friend of mine help me out with that one at the moment, and then we kind of move on to the next section. But once it's done, this first section, I'm going to put it onto my website, as well as then actually stream and show it to you all, put a YouTube video out on it so you can all see it, ask questions, all these things, so you can see that and see it in action. As I said, I'm going to be doing a bit of that so that there are records of it. And yeah, before I move on to the next stage. Another thing that's happened that I thought was quite interesting that I've been asked to do was book reviews about level design. I don't necessarily know if that's something that I'm going to... Level design books. I should have put it as... I don't necessarily know if that's what I'm going to do moving forward. Just because I don't think that's necessarily the channel, and my opinions are not facts, and I'm not a reviewer. And although I do think it would be great to have someone doing that, just because when I published my my books that there's no real site for people to see if they're worth it. I just don't think I'm the one to do it. But I will say, and I hate saying this, but I'm about 40-something% through The Creative Gene by Hideo Kojima, and I wouldn't recommend that to anyone. The reason being, and I'm a huge Hideo Kojima fan, anyone knows me knows that, is the book just missed the mark in terms of you are probably going to buy it for the same reason that I would buy it, in terms of, okay, you want to hear about how he created these games, his design process, his thoughts behind certain decisions he's made through not only his career, but the overall game design process, right? But it's basically just book reports. And I don't mean that in like any other way than school book reports, where he talks about books, when he read them, why it had like an impact on him. Some don't even, he doesn't even necessarily mention that. And it's just something that I really was just let down by. Because even when he says, oh, it inspired me, it's very loose threads. It's not like, oh, okay, and then this inspired this section with Revolver Ocelot and blah, blah, blah. Like, no, it's really not that there. You get to know a bit more about him as a person, which if you're interested in, that's great. But as I said, I think I said almost halfway through this, and it is safe to say that he's recommended about... It's over double digits now. I feel like I'm not over-exaggerating when I say 14 or something like that books. And I don't necessarily want to hear about another 20 books by the time I finish this. Not because some of those books won't be good, not because some of those books won't necessarily inspire, but that's not why you picked up this someone else's book, supposedly written by Hideo Kojima himself, to hear about his thoughts on other books. So, yeah, again, I don't think it's not something I necessarily want to say. He's obviously such a huge and big, prolific figure in our industry. But I think to save you money, honestly, for it. I'm going to get to 50% and then decide what to do from there with the book. But, yeah, at this rate, I'm just going to put it down and move on to something else, I think. But, yeah, that's kind of the life update from me with that. I don't feel there's necessarily anything happened just of yet other than GDC's just wrapped up, I think, of when recording this. I think PAX East is either just ending as well. So once more stuff comes out, we'll talk about that. Thank you for tuning in. We'll try and do more and more regular updates. Alright everyone, take care, and I'll catch you all next time.